Hello, this is the second video I'm doing on respectful assertiveness. The first one just laid out all the kind of different essentially beliefs that are necessary to give yourself permission to be respectfully assertive. And then these next three will be kind of ways to accomplish that with tactics and procedures and ways to do it. The first three of these are kind of the defensive ones, when people are really trying to manipulate you or gaslight you, mess with you, try to sell you something that you don't particularly want to get or whatever. The first one of these is really delightful. It's just called broken record. And what it means is when someone's trying to push you in some way that you don't want to go, like say a salesman is saying, well, he'll try on this sport coat, you really like it. You say, I'd rather not. And they would say, oh, well, you'd look really good in this. I think you should try it on. And you say, I'd rather not. And they say, well, how are you going to know whether you like it unless you try it on? And you say, I'd rather not. And the brilliant thing about that is you can use broken record when you're really stressed, when people are pushing you hard. All you have to do is keep repeating broken record that you'd rather not, or no thank you, or something like that. Don't give any reasons. Don't reply to their questions about why you think the way you think, or just say, I'd rather not. Or you can even use that one sentence word, no. But something else, no. You can be more respectful, unless they're really obnoxious, and just say, no thank you, I'd rather not. Better to keep even the same phrase, I'd rather not. The second technique is you add to that what's called fogging, which is really quite fun as well, where, for instance, the salesperson might say, gee, how are you ever going to know whether you like it unless you try it on? And fogging is to agree with what they say, or mostly agree with it, but still not do what they want or give a reason. So you would say, when the person says, well, how are you going to tell whether you like it unless you try it on? And you say, I understand that you feel that way about that, but I'd rather not. And they say, how are you ever going to get these new stylish clothes unless you try some of them on? And you'd say, I understand, that's a pretty good point you made, but I'd rather not. The third one is really interesting, a little counterintuitive, but a lot of fun in some ways. Well, it's called negative assertion, where the person says, well, I just can't see why you won't try this on. Negative assertion is, well, I'm kind of a stubborn person and I'd just rather not. Or it could be the negative agreement, where they'd say, you just seem to really be resisting my help here. Don't you want my help? And you can say, well, I'm kind of an individualist. I'd rather just do it myself. Even though, you could be helpful, but I'd rather do it myself. So when they give you some negative characteristics about yourself, agree with them. So these three really kind of work together. Broken record is magic, because you can always just use that when you don't have any other idea. And then fogging is where when they give out reasons, you can agree with the reasons, but say, still, I'd rather not. And then the negative assertion is when they start kind of trying to shame you in various ways, or say, well, you don't seem like a very cooperative person to me. You can say, yeah, in some ways I'm just not very cooperative. So those three are really effective at asserting oneself when people are trying to push you, sell you something you don't want, gaslight you, shame you, guilt you. They're really good techniques. Kind of one of the meta issues I should mention at the end of this, before we're going on to the more constructive ways to build relationships that are more constructive than defensive, is if you've looked at the different ways that you can understand your right to be assertive. That then pushes you to, what do I actually really want? If I'm not going to let other people make decisions for me, if I'm going to make my own decisions, well, what is it I want? What are my values? How do I want to live? And that's really interesting as well. So these are the three tactics that you can use when people are pushing you: broken record, fogging, and negative assertion. So next time we'll look at the tactics you can use when you're really you've got a person you want to work out a good agreement with, and ways to get to that good agreement by your being respectfully assertive and getting them in return to be respectfully assertive, which creates a basis for actual workable compromise. So if you've got any comments about this, I don't know if there's a comment section on here or not, but if there is, glad to hear your comments, or glad to have dialogue with folks who like to talk about these things. Thank you very much.